All right, I forgot the microphone. What's up, Lance Anderson, Abraham Perez, Matt HMM, Jeff Bowery, Clint, TPG, some guy who likes Makita. What's up, some way? I need to change to all messages real fast. Yeah, I scrolled up through the pregame a little bit, Matt. What's up, Woodchuck? What's up, Toolhawk? Leftovers are for quitters. It's finally the kind of weather where it's down in the 80s, so I can go back to coffee. It's actually been like super nice pretty much all this week. So I'm glad that it worked out to where we were pouring the concrete this week on the building. I've got it all done. The only concrete that I'll have left is the apron on the newer section to go into the garage door, but I probably won't do it till way later on in the process, just so I'm not having to, because I'll be building walls and all that kind of stuff, and it's a little bit easier, in my opinion, to work off of flat ground than it is an apron. And that way I don't have to worry about getting all the dirt and all that stuff all over it too. What's up, Elliot Parrish? Woodchuck says, rumor has it I've been brushing up on my bird calls. I do have my garage door open, but I opened it only about halfway tonight so that hopefully a bird doesn't decide to fly in here again. So I did have one question. It was Mac Bergson, and then somebody else brought it up. It might have been Elliot, or somebody else did in a comment too, about the M12 light. And y'all might have some other questions you want to ask. So depending upon which battery, I didn't have a battery in it whenever I was doing the video showing the angle and all that. So like without a battery in there at all, this goes the 180, but you can actually go farther. So like if you had it like this, you know, you could put that light kind of in that direction, maybe if that works out in a certain way. But if you put a small battery, you can still go back quite a ways. So you can still turn it that way quite a bit. But once you put in a large battery, you can only go this far. But the box, which is why I said 180 degrees, because actually you really get a little bit more than 180 degrees without a battery in there. And this is always hard to get out, because like you could turn it like this, go 180 would be that, and that's actually more than 180. But the box here says 180, 180, and then the only 360 is this one. So I guess they took it in consideration. So they're only advertising 180, and you can still get 180. So like you've got this versus this, but this actually has a little bit of a bend to it to where you can flatten that back out and get to 180 degrees. So technically, I guess you have it. The only downside would be this 180 degrees, you're only getting half your light like in this direction. So there is a little bit of limitation once you put the battery in, but it's still, you know, way more than what this one is. I think, I don't know if I said it in the video, but to me, the biggest downside of this one is that if I'm using the magnets and I need my light, you know, to shine right here, and my metal is over here, and I stick that up there, and then I'm doing work, obviously the light is right behind me type of thing, versus I could take this one now and stick it to metal somewhere and get this in the right spot, you know, because you can turn it completely backwards, shoot it in another direction, whatever it might be. So I think that's the biggest difference really between these two, other than as far as functionality, that's what makes this one better. But this one, of course, is a lot smaller. But yes, so with the batteries in there, you don't get the same motion as like what I showed in the video without a battery, but you do get the 180 degrees, you know, that they're claiming anyways. Logged in just in time. Thanks for the help on the battery question. You're welcome, Mac. So it is limited somewhat, but you do get the 180 degrees is what I'm saying. The only time you don't get the full 180 degrees is if you so happen to need that light backwards for some reason, but surely you could contort the light in a different way and get it all shining in that way. Because even if you're wanting to use your magnet and this is where you want your light to shine, and you're wanting to put your magnet on something somehow, like maybe here, and you're wanting to shine over top of something, I mean, I would think you could surely figure out a way to get that light somewhere if you really play around with it with the big battery. Again, it's not as big a deal with the small battery. I still like the M18 is going to be the one that stays in my truck. I'm actually leaning towards this one becoming my garage light. And like if you had a workbench or something, you know, you could mount this here or something. You could use it anywhere you wanted to, but then if you wanted more work on your more light on your workbench, you could twist that in and have light shining right down on something. But overall, it's a pretty nice light, but 99 bucks is pretty expensive especially if you're somebody like me who already has lights. It's working fine, but it's just one of those things where I was curious about it. Return it. They didn't advertise a feature you're not going to use. M12 radio is girthy too. Yeah, I decided, I thought about getting that. It's one, I think I found it on sale one day. The M12 Pike-Out radio is the one I think or the M12, it's a speaker, maybe, if that's what you're talking about. Yeah, the Pike-Out speaker. Yeah, I feel like it's a little bit too big, and I really like the shape of mine. The M12, just regular radio. It's not tippy at all. I really like it. It's perfect for me for what it is that I do, because I can't crank stuff super loud. It fits in my truck nice, has radio. Because a lot of times the speakers, just a Bluetooth speaker, you don't have radio. Important question, how's that coffee? It's pretty good. I was going to bring that up. So I bought sometimes I just scroll around on Amazon and I find a different coffee to try out. So this week I bought Cafe du Monde. It's a coffee in chicory, but I think it's like out of New Orleans, however you want to say that, I guess. Depends on where you live and where you're from. But I guess it's a big coffee shop down there in the French Quarter or something like that. Or it says at Old Jackson Square. So I bought that to try this week. It's pretty good. I mean, it's not bad. It's more of a, depends on how I drink my coffee black. And it's got more of I would call it a boldness, I guess, to it. I don't know that I'm a coffee connoisseur in that way to start using adjectives and stuff. I just can tell you if I like something or if I don't. And I have no problem going through that whole can. Woodchuck says, does it have USB charging C? Yes, that's what it has. It's only has the C. And it's only an output. So like you can't plug this in and charge your M12 battery that's in here with a USB-C. And you also, somebody else asked me the question if you could plug it up and with a USB-C cord not have a battery in it and use it. You can't do that either. It's only basically a USB-C output. From what I can tell, I tried both those things. It doesn't really say in the instructions, but I want to say the box after I looked at it did say output or something. No, it didn't. I was thinking I saw output somewhere. that made me think, well, that makes sense because that's all it is. But just strictly charging your devices, it does nothing to anything that's within the light itself, except for pulling from the battery that you've got in there. Somebody said the little, this thing costs $10 by itself. So if that helps you justify buying it, I mean, maybe you want one of these for your cup and you don't even need it for the light, but you're like, I don't want to spend $10 on one of those for a cup. I might as well just buy a $100 light and get that $10 item for free. If that's the help you need, then go ahead and just throw that in your brain and then pull the trigger and buy that thing now. Don't call me, Shirley. Toolhawk says, any concerns with breaking the light if you drop it from 6 foot? It depends on what, like I would say, depending, I mean, this has got quite a bit of a hinge to it. Like, it depends on, I mean, if it hits, it might take the impact and the hinge might act in itself to save it a little bit. But I mean, I would say if you drop it dead up on that right there, like, I think all this would be okay. But if you dropped it like, and it just so happened to land on this, I don't know what would happen to this here, because there's really only a pin in here that makes it swivel. So you might have an issue with that. I mean, the rest of this feels pretty stout. Like, all this feels pretty stout, the base. Again, if you put it in like that, you know, it would probably survive that again, unless you just hit directly on a rock or something, like boom, like this. So it all just is going to depend on what it lands on. Like, does it land on grass or concrete, or, you know, how hard does it hit something, and then how it lands. It's not like a cat. It's not going to always land on his back or like here or something. Max said, I figured the battery was going to get in the way. Yeah, like I said, I don't think it's that. You can still, it's got that little extra hinge that lets you get it flat still. It just kind of sticks out. The only time that it's going to be a negative is if you so happen to want the light back that way and you've got that bigger battery in here, it's going to block off part of it. But like I said, surely you can figure out another way to get the light around the battery or something if you need to. What they should do is light, Bluetooth speaker, you know, all in one type thing. You know, it's almost all the same size. I don't know what all they could have put a speaker back in behind like this part or something. Then boom, you hang it on the wall, you got your light, and you're listening to your music, all that kind of stuff. But then there wouldn't be 2 SKUs and 2 ways for them to make money. Somebody said Makita's plumber's recip saw, it'll file your nails. Sizzleneck says they need to add a 5.0 at that price. I'm sure that there will be eventually a deal where it's either an add-on to another tool or you'll get like a free battery or something with it. I was telling, I think it was TPG was emailing me back and forth, or it might have been even on a comment. I said, good things usually come to those who wait. Unfortunately, I'm just one of those that don't like waiting a lot. Matt said, try Death Wish. Elliot said it's Nollins. Cafe du Monde. The E is silent. Death Wish coffee or Holler Roast. Yeah, I like trying a new one every now and then, like just something different. I normally drink Choco nuts or chock full of nuts or whatever it is, something like that. It's not priced bad. Melissa Hawk says, how's that concrete, Joey? So far, so good. I still haven't sealed it yet. I'm going to sell it after this live's over. That one side was still, and that's in the shade, was still a little bit, it's not really wet, but you know, I felt like it had some moisture still, so I'm waiting a little bit. I'll do it right after this is over, probably. Mike says, you sound like my wife justifying her Amazon purchases. Somebody actually made that in a comment. They said, well, I don't really need the light, but that the pack out holder is $10 by itself, so I might as well buy that light. What's up, Terry Burton? Bring on the little Debbies. Hey, buddy, said, I usually never worry about dropping my tools, but it always happens when I'm on the site for the 10th hour, tired and exhausted. I don't know. I just get a little clumsy sometimes, and now I worry. Yeah, it's usually whenever you're either tired like that and you get to where you start being relaxed on what it is you're doing because you're just thinking about getting it over with or doing whatever. Or it's usually something that you're so comfortable in that you quit paying attention as much. Elliot said, the good thing I took away from Pipeline event and new releases from Milwaukee is they're continuing to innovate and push their M12 lineup, new Rover light, new die grinder, new ratchets, etc. Yeah, I'm probably going to go ahead and buy the new Surge based on watching the video when it comes out, which I think, if I remember right, I think I saw in somebody's video, it's supposed to be the beginning of next month sometime. So it should be here pretty soon, I guess. So I'll probably get that. I don't know about the pliers wrench or any of that stuff. Just looking at them from afar off, they kind of looked bulky to me. And I've got so many Knipex ones already. So the only reason why I would buy one is just to look at it, see what I think, and then like to show you guys. But I don't need one, that's for sure. And it also depends on how much they are. You know, that's what I always like. I'm willing to try the Klein pliers wrench because it was half price. But like if you get up in the same ballpark price number as Knipex, I don't feel like I'd probably buy it unless it's got some sort of feature on it that is like, well, Knipex doesn't have that, and that might be pretty handy type thing. Matt said Husky has a light with a speaker on it. Hey, buddy says, is this for the new lights they're promoting right now? I don't know what other new lights they're coming out. I didn't see any other ones on the, this was the only one I saw on any of the Pipeline videos I watched. And I had seen pictures of this a while back, like that it was coming out, but I didn't know when. And then I was watching somebody's video. I don't remember if it was the Tool Show or, you know, somebody's. I don't remember whose it was. But the Milwaukee rep, whenever they said, when's it going to be available? And they said, right now, it's available now. So then I went on Home Depot, and sure enough, there it was. It actually took a little while of searching, though, for me to find it, because whenever I first started searching, I think I searched M12 Rover. And, of course, it was bringing up the old ones. It was bringing up even, like, the square Rover light that's M12. So then I think I ended up searching, like, M12 Rover Pack Out or something like that, and that's how I ended up finding it. Clint made a Knipex bottle opener. Needs to buy some bottles to test it out. Did y'all see the report of a Milwaukee employee stealing over $1 million worth of tools? I hadn't seen that, Terry. Jeff said probably just stole one of those pack out van shelves, equals out to $1 million. Those are pretty expensive. Like, I think that was Curtis's video where he said that entire van, which I guess that probably included like the pack outs and stuff too, but it was like $11,000 or something like that for that setup or something like that. The only way I would do that is like if I bought a brand new van and like I knew that van was going to last me a really long time and that $11,000 was going to make me a lot of money based on efficiency and that was going to stay in that van for a really long time to be able to get the payback on it. That's a lot of money. Of course, I say that, but I don't know how much I've got with deck drawers and everything else in mine. Vessel's got a new electric ratchet, Tony says. I'm not going to try to butcher your last name. I'm going to say it's Carrasio, but that's probably wrong. We'll see. I hadn't seen if it's newer than that electric one that they had before, I haven't seen a newer one. So I might, the one thing I didn't like about the one that was released lately is that to go from forward and reverse, you had to like flip the ratchet around because there's so many times where you'll get something in somewhere and maybe you go a hair too far and you're like, oh, I need to back that up a little bit or do something, or back and forth like within the same motions. And of course, if you have to take your ratchet off, if you're in some tight spot or whatever to be able to flip it around, I don't think I'd like that. That's why I didn't buy it, because I could just see that being a problem. I don't know if their new one does that or not. Save your receipt. I'm predicting the surge will be in the 2025 Black Friday BOGOs, Max says. TPG said he's going to check out Klein's new bits. I was in my Lowe's yesterday, actually. I went to go get concrete sealer, and then I ended up going and getting it at a supply house because it was better stuff. But I'm trying to think if I actually went over. I was in Lowe's the day before, though, and I didn't see any of the Klein stuff out at my Lowe's. And I think I walked by it yesterday, the kind of area where they normally keep that stuff, and I didn't see it either. So I don't think mine's put them out yet. Matt's waiting for the 1/4-inch black vessels. Hey, buddy said, I think it was the speakers that are coming out that I saw. Yeah, they've got an M12 Bluetooth speaker that kind of clicks in, I think, to pack out the same way that light does. You stick it on pack out and you twist it. I'm not going to buy that because I like my M12 radio and I only listen to the radio. Like I've never used Bluetooth on my M12 radio that I've even got. I just turn it on a radio station whenever I'm working and just let it go. Tools and Tactics showed some of them at Lowe's. Yeah, I saw somebody, I think it was like his name, maybe it's Caleb Ross or something like that. He had like a 2 or 3 minute video that I watched that he found some Weehaw, something else, some other new stuff at Lowe's. I can't remember what it was besides Weehaw and then the Klein stuff. And his had quite a few things sitting out there. What's up, Lexi? $11,000. It better come full of Milwaukee tools. That's a lot of money, but I mean, if you add it up, like I said, surely that counted all the pack out cases and drawer sets and all that kind of stuff, and not just the shelving itself. I mean, surely it included all that. Because I mean, even if you've got like 10 pack out cases of some sort, you're getting close to $1,000 almost right there. Max said Jersey Discount has those ratchets on their website. I'll have to check them out. I don't guess I've seen the new vessel ratchet. Rob had his van outfitted with black sustainers. Forget the name of them. Woodchuck said. I don't know. I know that there's what's the name? It starts with a M. Like it's like the Bosch track saw, except for more expensive. It starts with an M, but I know that they're black and red, and they're kind of, I think they're made by Bosch because it, like their saw and everything look just like the Bosch saw. The tracks look just like the Bosch tracks, and Bosch made L boxes that were blue that were kind of like Sustainers. So maybe it was that. I can't remember what the name of that brand is though. I'm wanting to say Mayfield or something, but I don't think that's it. Jamie said the guy had a 9,000 pound shipment delivered to an apartment address, or he'd still be doing it. It's really smart because sometimes they do the same. I find myself going through different channels on my phone, and I spend a lot of time on my phone talking about swapping back and forth to like channels on Spotify or something like that on your phone. Yeah, I don't like to, that's the whole reason why I listen to a radio. I just turn it on. There's one station I listen to that's local to me that plays. It used to play 70s, 80s, and 90s, but I think here in the last, like probably in the last 6 months, I don't know if they swapped decades and moved up to where now they play 80s, 90s, and 2000s. Every now and then they still throw in like a 70s thing, but it's pretty much mostly 80s, 90s, and 2000s. So I just put it on that station and just let it play whatever it plays, because then there's no me getting on my phone. Oh, I don't really, I want to swap to something else. I don't like messing with all that. I think the shelving is $2K per stack. Man, that's crazy to me. Like, I'd be figuring out a way to build my own with, you know, all sorts of drawer slides or whatever. Because ultimately I guess they're adaptable is the one nice thing about them, because it's almost like that. And I only glanced at like a little bit of Curtis's video. It looked like you can kind of adjust the shelves fairly easy. So if you want to change, hey, I don't really like this organizer here, I'd rather have a drawer here, I can move this shelf down and fit a drawer in there instead of one single organizer. Versus if you go build something out of wood, it's harder to take in consideration that I'm going to move stuff around and make it that kind of way with drawer slides that lock and all that kind of stuff like that. So I get it, but that's a lot of money. Mr. Subaru has videos on the ratchet. Same one that I've texted you about many times. Well, maybe I have seen it then. Maybe I'm just thinking of something different, that maybe I've got something else in my mind that I'm thinking of that I'm not thinking of seeing. I really kind of wanted to buy those blackout or the black Vera ratchets. Like Clint bought a set of them. They've even got on the back side of them, it's even got like this is the logo that's on the handle part. I really wanted to get those, but I didn't want to spend the money on them. Like the whatever they're called. What's the Cyclops? Jeff Bowery said Metabo. No, it's not Metabo. It's some weird, like, I don't even think they really sell very many tools in the U.S. I think it's more so, like I saw it on whoever the tool guy, what's his name, that comes around, Scott Brown, every now and then. Like, he drives up and always has some cool stuff to look at. I can't remember what that guy's name even is, but he brought that track saw for Scott Brown to try out. I watched that video, and it's basically, like I said, it looks just like the Bosch track saw. The track looked just like, but I think it's got like a much stouter motor or something. Like, it's basically the top tier of a Bosch tool type thing. But I remember it started with an M, but I can't think of what it is. Elliot said, I've already told my family I want Home Depot gift cards for Christmas. Yeah, there was always nothing worse to me, Elliot, than getting Lowe's gift cards from people. Like, now, at least there are some things that I will buy at Lowe's. I used to just go buy materials or something with them and then I'd just take that money and go over to Home Depot and buy a tool. But yeah, I'm like, that's what I think it was a Christmas video, top 5 gifts or something I made last year. I'm like, make sure you know where your person shops at, what tools he owns, all those kinds of things, and get the gift card to the right store, because sometimes there's nothing at a store. That's just like Menards. I like Menards for supplies and stuff, but there's really not a lot of tools in there that I really care for. You know, there's not a lot of brands that I'm going to buy or any of those kind of things. I mean, they do carry some Knipex, but it's all the Knipex stuff that I've already got. So you got to know where your person shops at. I did move me and Miss Maintenance, I pulled my internet cable out before I poured the concrete on the side and just pulled it back and then ran it into the new conduit. Man, I got a air bubble. And then I've got it ran through my building over here just temporarily, but now I've got my router over on this side. So I was a little bit curious to see if that makes any difference. If it ends up being better, like maybe I'll walk around towards the end, so in case it messes up again, or before it gets dark, and I'll show you where I'm at on the building. But maybe if this one's the other way where it was going towards my other mesh stuff, and I sometimes wonder if it was disconnecting me to this one and put me on one that was a little bit farther away or something like that. But this is just temporary, because once I get it all done, I'm going to go ahead and put another mesh thing out in my other section of building, and then one in here. So I'll kind of have two of them, but that way, if I'm down there, maybe I want to do a live down there because we're doing something, I'll still have internet down there without going through walls and all that kind of stuff. So Mayfield, Lance Anderson, I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Mayfield, something like that. I was wanting to say it was Mayfield or something along those lines, but it is something like that. I don't know if that's exactly it, but I think that might be it. Steve's Woodshop and Tour Review said, I figured you like Broadway show tunes. No, I really like 80s. Like, there isn't hardly a song in the 80s I don't like. And then I really like 90s stuff too. Like, I'm more of a Pearl Jam, Stone Temple Pilots, that kind of thing. That was kind of, I think once you get older, you just kind of listen to the same music that you listened to when you were younger. And you never I couldn't tell you, you could start playing some songs of today's stuff, and I couldn't even tell you who they are. Like every woman singer out there that I hear on the radio, like if it's something, like if I'm in the car with my son or whatever else, and they're listening to a radio station and I hear a woman come on, I assume they're all Taylor Swift. Like they all sound exactly the same. So I couldn't pick out one from another person because I don't know them. Because I just pretty much listen to the same stuff I listened to whenever I was younger, and that's about it. Bot Smart Van is a German company coming to the U.S. So that's the brand that he had in his van. Bot Smart Van. Jeff Bowery said, Steve, I enjoyed your collab with Jacob Palmer. I just watched that last night, I think, or maybe it was this morning. I don't remember. It was either last night before I went to bed, or it was this morning. I can't remember. And well, it must have been last night, because this morning I got up pretty early because the concrete truck was getting here early. Matt said, Joey, you want the shadow stabilities. I absolutely do. But man, I've got so much money in my other ones. I really want that little bitty digital one too. Like they've got like a little, I think it's an 8-inch or something like that. I really want that, but it's like I just can't pay the same price for an 8-inch level that I could buy 6-foot level. It's like 20 more bucks. It's just so hard for me to do that. I almost would buy a 6-foot one and cut it off and have a couple straight edges or something. But the shadow ones are pretty nice looking. Killtronic said his nephew's in the ER after a rear tractor tire and wheel fell on him, broken foot. Hopefully that heals well. Yeah, you get stuff happens, man, with gravity. Sometimes I I was just watching just the other day a video where a guy, like his wife, was trying to get the car off of him because he had it jacked up and it fell on him. And I think it was the EMT people got there, and they ended up being able to. There was enough of them there that they picked it up enough to be able to have somebody drag him out. Clint said he won't buy black ratchets, but he'll buy $100 light. Yeah. Looks like the Vessel E Assist Wrench 400 ER2U. I ask for Home Depot gift cards every year and rarely get them. I did this to get a new, I just earned some perk points. So I did get a gift card with my perk points. And then I think I'll probably end up getting several of them off building this thing. Although my lumber package, so I did order my lumber package. Well, I ordered my lumber package for my walls, and then I ordered the trusses. And then after I get the trusses up, I'll order the roof sheathing and, all that kind of stuff. That way I don't have it all here at one time type thing, because they always treat me really well on the delivery and all that. So it doesn't bother me to have them come out here a bunch of times. But so they're supposed to be, my lumber is supposed to be here Tuesday, because I got enough stuff to work around here over the course of the weekend. So I'm going to start on the walls hopefully Tuesday. And then trusses, he told me wouldn't be that far out. So I'm sure I probably will have the walls done well before the trusses get here, but hopefully it won't be too long. Any good deals you're looking into for Labor Day? Anything that you see? I haven't seen any kind of special crazy sales or anything like that. Every now and then that's when Home Depot will put a better deal of the day up, it seems like, for like special stuff like that, but I haven't known of anything. Noodle loves my voice. Chewing on the laptop speaker. Jeff said he's asking Santa Claus for a new Occidental leather electrician's pouch. Yeah, I'm going to end up spending all my money on this thing, I'm sure. But I did have a company reach out about it, like an electric cord reel, asking me if I'd be willing to review that. So I told him, I said, I'm going to save your email. I said, I don't want it right now. I said, but once I get this done, I want an electric cord reel down in my new thing. So I'll get that and we'll see if it's any good. And then I did just recently have another mini split company. So you guys let me know if you've heard. I think the first one that sent me an email that I saved was, I want to say it was like Turbo or something like that. This one is that TOSOT. So if y'all know anything about them, neither one of them brands I've ever dealt with. Like I've only dealt with Mitsubishi, and I think I did have Daikin's. What was the other brand that I've dealt with at the facility I worked at? I've never installed like any of them, but I mean, it shouldn't be hard based on everything I've seen from them. So I don't know if either one of those are any better than the other. I want to say the first one was Turbo. Don't hold me to that. I think that might be it. And then the second was TOSOT. So if y'all know anything about them, one's better than the other, let me know. They say the music you like during your late teens has the biggest impact on you. That's what Mac Bergson says. Yeah, I think I remember somebody saying there's a certain age where that's where your music limit cuts off. Like you never listen to new music past whatever age that is. It's pretty much you always listen. And it makes sense because like whenever you get older, you're probably wanting to think back on different, like whenever you listen to your music and you hear stuff that you listened to whenever you were a little bit younger or whatever, it just makes you have different memories and stuff like that. So that's why it's nice to listen to it. TPG said he prefers 70s and 80s, but also big bands. What's up? What's up, Keys? I'm going to get it right. Plumbing with Keys. Mayfell. That's it right there. Mayfell. That might have been what Somebody said up there earlier, and I just read it wrong. Mayfield is it, though. I'm 100% sure it's Mayfield. The level I need lately is a plate level 8 foot plus. Yeah, my plate level is 6 to 10, and I love it. Now, I've never seen like a digital one where you can buy one, but I bought my plate level well before. Like, I bought it about the same time I bought my Stability digital ones. If they had a digital one, I would have bought it for sure. But R&R Buildings has one, but I don't know if Stability gave it to him or if he had to make it for him or you know what. Which it's the same. They basically put that same digital thing just in their regular levels. It's the same. So I could see you being able to put it in any level if you wanted to, but he's got one. He's got a digital plate level. Mine's not digital, but it is nice to have a plate level because if it takes out that whole guesswork of the crown in your studs and all that kind of stuff. Like if you're basically just touching the top plate, touching the bottom plate, and you're level, then that's where you want to be. Or if you're plumb, not necessarily level, but plumb, that's where you want to be. I'm gonna see how far. Well, I'm not too far in the weeds. I've seen because my y'all's comments and my talking were starting to catch up. I was wondering how far behind I was. Use your points when you get them. I was saving some. The Home Depot froze 2 of my accounts. They said I lose the perks. Mine usually don't make it very long. I think at one point now, sometimes like if I know a tool's coming out that I know I'm wanting to buy, that's what I'll save them for, which is kind of dumb because it's just like, just go ahead and use them when you got them and buy materials with them or do whatever. Because it's the same money when it's all said and done. But for some reason in my brain, if I buy a tool with perk points, it doesn't count as I spent money on that tool. But I could very well spend those perk points on, drywall for some job, and then I just made more money on that, and then I buy that tool. But for some reason, that doesn't fit in the brain the same way. Matt S said, I tried to like the Occidental electric belt setup, couldn't stand the layout. That's why I really like my vest, just because you can move stuff around on it. Like you're not limited to, I have to fit everything in these certain areas on my belt. And then on top of that, you can put stuff all over the place up in here. That's kind of why I started liking the vest. And I just feel like it's more comfortable. Now with a lot of belt setups, you can get this with the suspenders and all that. You can still add a lot of stuff in the same way. But for some reason, I like all my stuff. And even though I kind of got used to it in my younger days of reaching behind me and getting stuff like that, so it wasn't kind of in my way up here, but it seems like I actually prefer my stuff more up in the front now than what I do in the back. But again, that's going to depend on what kind of work you do. There's some stuff where the stuff being in the front would be a no-go for you, and there's some stuff where the stuff being in the back is a no-go. Plumbing said that new Rover light looks awesome. It is nice looking. It is big though, but it is. I don't even remember what the lumens is. Like this one's 1200 lumens, so it's the brightest of that bunch right there, supposedly. But I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't know that I ever even use high on them. I think I pretty much leave mine on low almost all the time. But again, I'm not trying to light up a room with them or anything like that. So, and I can't tell a huge difference between 300 lumens and 1200 lumens, as crazy as that sounds. But I can't remember what the lumen is on this one. I forgot to look it up, but I want to say it's only like, is it 300, 500, something like that on the max, on the high setting. So it's quite a bit of difference in lumens, but I honestly don't feel like it's really that big a difference on any of them and the lighting that I get out of them. I think the lumen stuff sometimes is, unless you're going outside and you're wanting to light up a huge area or something like that, for what I use them for, inside of spaces, looking at a panel that's right in front of my face, I don't need it to be like a bomb just went off in front of me with light. Matt said Mr. Cool hasn't bugged you. No, they haven't. But they might be looking for people who do mainly like HVAC stuff or do like that home reno, like videos and all that kind of stuff like that. I'm sure it's one of those where I could reach out to, again, I don't reach out to anybody, but I'm sure I could probably reach out to like a Mr. Cool or something like that and ask them. I've seen some of the TOSOTs. I've seen some of those, but I don't know anybody that's got one or anything like that. I think I've seen some of those in videos. Max said Home Depot has some decent deals today. Yeah, I looked at those. They've had all the tools that Home Depot's been putting in the deals of the day for the last, I don't know, year. I've already got all of them, so I know you do a lot of Home Depot willing and or Facebook willing and dealing though, so you probably just buy stuff whenever it's a good deal, whether you not just because you don't think about, oh, I've already got this. You're actually probably selling them, so. What is a plate level? Kiltronic said. So it's essentially a level that has almost like extensions. I'll grab. Well, I don't have my keys on me. I'd have to unlock my side doors and all that kind of stuff. But essentially, it's a level. I can kind of show you like with one of these. Maybe it'll make sense. So you have your normal level. Well, plate level has standoffs on them. So let's say this is part of the level. So it would be like here and then here. So whenever I stick this on, like say a bottom plate of a wall, and then I stick this on a top plate of the wall, if the studs are bowed bad or crowned a certain way or whatever, it doesn't affect me sticking my level straight on that stud. And then I'm leveling up a really bad bowed, stud. I'm able to check it from top to bottom to know that I'm plumb. And most of the plate levels, like mine, is extendable. So it starts out at 6 foot, but then you can pull one end out. And I think mine goes up to 10 foot or something like that. But that's why it's called a plate level. You can use it for other stuff, obviously. You can use it for any kind of level. It's basically a 6 to 10 foot level. But the intent behind it is to check plumb from the bottom plate to the top plate of your wall. It takes out basically bad material between your top plate and bottom plate that might throw off your plumbness. Matt's got a lot of concrete jobs coming up. What's up, Kearney Creek Farm? Jeff's making sure that he's covering his bases in case his wife is watching. And now she's sitting next to him and he's on a TV and she wasn't paying attention to the comments. Now she's like, what are you saying on there? And I just got him in trouble. The Stabilis Shadow Digital 16-inch. Yeah, the only Stabilis digital level, I'd like to have a plate level, but again, I never saw it for sale, but R&R Buildings has one. But I'd like to have that little torpedo level, and I'd kind of swap out my little Empire one for it. What's up, Roy? What's up, Chris? Chris spent all his perks on a new whole hog. Yeah, the perk points, and it's kind of silly because, again, this is how my brain works sometimes. So sometimes I will purposely go buy things at Home Depot, even though I could go over and get it at Lowe's for the same price and get the 5% off or whatever else. But because it's in my mind, I'm getting 4 times the perk points using my Pro card at Home Depot that I'm going to get a gift card if I spend. But it's like the 5% off at Lowe's adds up to more than that gift card for sure over the course of time. If Lowe's has something, that Home Depot also has the same thing. But in my mind, it's still like I can't save that 5% and say, oh, well, I'll just put that 5% towards some tools. No, my brain is I need to go get a Home Depot gift card out of perk points so that I can get a tool for free. Matt said, I can't do the vest. The weight on my shoulders messes with my back. $700 on that light on the lumens. That's more than what I was thinking. I thought I was thinking 5, but 700. That's probably about right. Because like I said, I can't tell a huge difference between all three of them. And as a matter of fact, like I said, I think I use mine on at least the medium setting all the time. If not, I use it on the low. I just very rarely need that high setting. So I don't even really look at lumens on a light whenever I'm going to buy one. I look at the features more than I look at lumens because, again, I just feel like I'm 9 times out of 10 lighting up something directly in front of my face. And if I'm going into some place and I need to light up a bigger area, like if I'm doing an attic work over a big area of the attic or a crawl space, then I'll take like a bigger M18 light or something like that down there. But for all my like little service type lights, I don't really care what the lumens are. I just want the features. Jeff uses the MP1X for service calls. Mike said he's been reselling for 3 years to fuel his tool addiction. Lexi says working on ladders with your arms above your head is the real back killer. Working off of a ladder in general is what ends up making my back hurt. I think it's because you engage different muscles and stuff whenever you're like, especially if you're working like with your arms and working off a ladder and contorting yourself. I've noticed my lower back starts bothering me more if I work on a ladder. Like if I'm on a job where I use a ladder all day long, like I can tell a big difference in my back. Jeff's been wearing pouches since 1991. His bad back, hips, and knees are bought and paid for many times over. What's the container of yellow liquid? I don't know. Where's it at? Oh, down here. That's it's just a yellow container. It's framing nails. Just framing nails. I had my buddy brought over the Milwaukee framing nailer for me to borrow. For whenever I start framing. I'm normally 100% a screw person, but again, I normally do interior walls and stuff like that, like the trusses and all this kind of stuff. That's stuff I don't normally do. So it's kind of a little bit even new to me. I've done it a few times in my life, but like it's not something I do on a regular basis. But there's some things you need to use nails for, so he brought that over for me. All my actual work, I pretty much do all my framing with screws. TPG said agreed. Most things don't need thousands of lumens. Plumbing said he's been really enjoying the icon light. Nice for plumbing service work. Pie Guy, does anyone know what is the best Leviton USB-A, USB-C outlet to install for phone, iPad, and small device charging? I don't in particularly. I put in some. I've got a couple maybe in my box, but I don't have any in my house, oddly enough, because I just don't feel the need to have them. But whatever these are, I put some of these in. I don't know, but they're all the regular old USB-A's or USB, whatever these are. These are the ones customers wanted me to put in. I had an extra couple of them. I don't know if they're any good or not. I don't have them in my house. I've never used them, so I don't know how fast they charge. It's 3.6 amp USB charger. tamper resistant outlets, smart chip technology for fast, efficient charging. But this one still has the receptacles and the USB. So I don't know if they're any good or not. And I'm sure they got some now that are USB-C and all that stuff. I actually don't have very many people ask for those. I guess most people just use the wall blocks and stuff still in my area. That's what I use in my house. I haven't put any of those in. I've even got some out here and I don't put them in my house. Look like a Vapro rust. Kearney Creek Farm has been using his Streamlight Enduro USB on his hard hat. Pleasantly surprised at the brightness. Max said the M18 framer's no joke. Yeah, it's super heavy. He actually bought that long time ago. I made a few videos. One was, I think it's where I did the drywall, collated drywall screw attachment for the M18 gun. There were some clips of it in that video. I did a video talking about patching. I think it was a short where I put blue chalk in my mud for like the final patches, so I know where I did some stuff. Well, whenever we did that, it was like 2 big suites of tons of framing, and he went and bought that whenever we did that, thinking it would be faster. So that's when he bought it. But man, that thing is heavy. Like, to use it all day, every day, you'd have some Popeye arms by the end of it. Make sure you use the high output. I really want to buy me a siding nailer, but I don't think, like, and I'm talking about to put up like LP smart side and stuff, not like to put in like the roofing nails for vinyl siding. But I don't know that there's a battery powered one. Like, DeWalt's got a coil nailer, Milwaukee's got one, but I think it's just for roofing. And then you can also get an attachment to shoot basically roofing nails for your vinyl siding to hold it off so it doesn't hold tight, you know, so that you got that little bit of expansion contraction. I don't know. Do y'all know of a battery powered siding nailer? Because I'm going to be doing LP smart siding. I don't know which kind yet. I don't know if I'm going to do board and batten or, you know, panels or what I'm going to do, but that's what I'm going to do. I can use the nailer there for it if I want to, but I'd like to get a coil nailer if there is one, but I don't know if there is one for that kind of siding. I could just buy me an air one and then use my little compressor, but I know I'm never going to, like, if I buy a battery powered one, there's a chance I might use that on some other job, putting up fence or something like that, you know, versus if I buy an air one, it's going to be pretty much for this, and that's it. There was a hospital show called The Pit. In one episode, a guy was admitted for taking a framing nail to the chest, and my wife said no way, but I showed her it in action and she was surprised. Those USB device outlets are huge. Make sure you got enough room in a deep box. Yeah, it's kind of almost like putting a GFCI in a way, like size-wise and stuff. You got to have... Mike said he put the USB-C in his boy's room, was tired of them stealing my charging blocks. Yeah, I guess that's probably why, like, I've never in my mind thought I need them, because, like, I've got my own outlet beside my bed, like on my side of the bed. Miss Maintenance has one on hers where our chargers are, and like, so I just didn't feel the need to change it, because at the time, whenever I added that on, I put all that specifically knowing our bed was going to go there and all that kind of stuff. But at that time, the USB charger plugs and all that kind of stuff weren't really a thing. It was everybody just used wall blocks. So, and I just haven't even thought to even change mine. I still got to critique Morgan's newest plumbing video. Plumbing with Keys said. Yeah, that I was glad that it worked out, because every now and then I've ran into on the CPVC where you take off the half of the compression and the other one just doesn't work with it for whatever reason. But I hate messing with it. The DeWalt roofing nailer works great with the tip. Senco and Freeman have a battery siding nailer, but I don't recommend them. DeWalt with tip is better. But all those nailers only shoot like a 1.75" nails. And I think that the LP recommends, because I think they actually want you to nail into the stud or whatever, but I don't know. I could be wrong about that. I need to get out the specs and read it. I actually haven't ever installed LP Smart Side. I have installed like the 4x8 sheets of like it's like T11 siding, but LP has the same exact thing. I've installed those. I think R&R uses pass load for Smart Side, Clint said. I wouldn't mind. I've actually even thought about, like, if I did very much framing, I'd definitely, if I was going to buy a battery nailer, I'd buy a pass load probably, and like just factor that gas into the price of my job, just because it's crazy amount of weight less than like all these other nailers. Like if I was somebody who's going to be holding that all day long, it'd still be the way to go, in my opinion. What's up, Don Mendenhall? If you're doing new construction, definitely put in Leviton USB-C charging outlet. Shoot in 2-inch framing nails and back the thing off. I think that's that's how I put up the other siding on my house. Like I've got some siding that's basically those panels on the back of my house where I added on, and I used a framing nailer. It was an air nailer, but that's what I used, and then I just backed them off so it didn't sink them in. Basically kept them flush. Which, depending upon, especially if you do like the horizontal siding, I mean the nails they get covered up, like you don't even see them. So I don't see why you'd even, like the ones like the panels, you're going to still see those, and you got to paint over them and all that kind of stuff. Oh, I'm actually caught up. I'm out of the weeds. Haven't done residential in decades. How many watts do the USB-C or USB receptacles put out? I don't know if that one is said on the back of it. And again, these are probably older. I don't know how long these have been in my. I've kept these so that in case I run into some place, this is the box I throw in my truck. If somebody says I've got a switch or an outlet problem, and I've had these, I just keep them in there in case somebody's got like because I always carry just 20 amp regular, and then 15 amp as far as receptacles that are your standard looking ones. But I've carried these in case somebody has like a decor one or something and I got to change it out. I'll be like, I tell you what, how about I upgrade you to some USB ones, since I've already got these in my deal here. Let's see if it says anywhere. Probably inside the package. Package is open, so I'll see if this says anything. I doubt it does, though. USB rated 3.6 amps. I doubt it says anything. You'd have to do some math. And I can't do math because I'm filming with my calculator. Not a framing nailer, but you got the new Milwaukee M12 brad nailer. Really like it. I've got that one too. It's really good. I use it a lot now over my M18 just because that gauge, that length of nail works out pretty well for me a lot of times. It's way smaller. The pin nailer is great. The M12 pin nailer is great. The M12 brad nailer is great. Every Milwaukee nailer that I've used has been really good. Does the V2 sheath fit the 13-in-1? I don't know. I'd have to find all that, so I don't know for sure. You talking about the Riley knife and tool sheath? Clint said his Klein screwdriver's coming tomorrow. TBG, I'd rather use charging blocks, replaceable point of failure, instead of needing to replace a whole outlet. Steve Stark said the Milwaukee cordless coil nailer, very disappointing. Wouldn't fire a nail straight to save its life. Yeah, and see, I think the longest nail that shoots, if I remember right, it's like 1 3/4 inches or something like that. Jeremiah said I ordered 2 from Riley. I'd have to figure out. I know I got one of my sheets is over here in my drawer, and then one of them was in my truck, but I can't remember. I'd have to figure out which one was version 1 or 2, and then I don't even know if I've got the 13-in-1. You talking about this 13-in-1? I'm almost positive now that you say it. I don't think it will fit up in any many ways because of this, but in case, because if that's the point of failure on it as far as not working out, then it's not going to fit either one of them, because I think that's pretty much the same. I think it was the depth that he changed. Actually, I don't think it's in this drawer. I think it's over in my box over here. Yeah. So I'm not sure which version this one is. This is the one where I robbed the thing off and put it on one of my other things. But this right here, I don't think this will fit in any of this. Now, there's a possibility where like this bumps out right here. Maybe if you shaved that first little thing off, that would maybe then go in there at that point. And that would work, but it won't go past this right here right now because that's skinny. Because that's made to fit like the that's the ratcheting one. That's probably not going to go in there either. Yeah, I guess it will. Because this is a lot smaller than this. So that's made to go in there, where this right here is too big. But like I said, maybe if you shaved off, if you cut it down to right here, it would go in there, especially if you played with it some and kind of got it to spread out and kind of skip this first little section. It maybe would work. Appreciate that, plumbing. Magnetic comparison, new to old Rover. Let's see. Let me turn you this way a little. Let's see if that gets that cabinet in the picture. I'm on a delay, so we'll have to wait a second and see if that moves my camera right. And I'll go ahead and I'll throw a bigger battery in here for the weight. So, like, move my cord there. To pull that off, I'm gonna have to really jerk on it. See, let me move that more over in the middle. So I'm gonna pull out, push the cabinet in, and like kind of hold on to the. That one came off really easy. So a little bit stouter. Like if I push that in and then pull out on the light, it starts to come up. If I put that same amount of pressure, this one comes off. And I mean, it's pretty obvious by looking at them, you know, that's what you're going to have, because these are quite a bit bigger. These are just two little lines. So this is small lines if you just want to snort a little. These are pretty big lines if you want to have a good time, I guess. I have no idea if that made sense. I'm not a. We'll see if we get back over this way. Good enough. All those roofing nailers are limited to 1 7/5 inch and 3/4 nails. Jeff said you can heat up the sheath and with a heat gun and stretch it out a little. That's the comparison I paid for, and it's perfect. Yeah, it's definitely a little bit stouter for sure, which I guess it needed to be because it's a little bit bigger light. Well, the nephew's going to be off work for a while. They're going to do surgery tomorrow. Well, hopefully it's not broke like extremely bad where there won't be like long-term effects, like it's something that will heal well. Don't do drugs, kids. Don't do lines. That's what I was saying. I don't know anything about drugs, so I don't know if any of that made sense or not. It's just in my mind, whenever I saw little lines, that's what came in my brain. Meth leads to bad breath. My only gripe on the old Rover is the bad magnet. Yeah, they're very small. Like I've had it not in use, like if I've got it stuck on something, but if you were like, I could see maybe, and again, I don't hang mine up that way in a van or something like that, but I could see if you had that in the old one in a van and you were hitting big bumps and stuff, it would probably come off. I don't think that new one probably would, unless it was like a really jarring, you know, type of thing. So do you like the M18 Rover or the newer M12 Rover better? Me personally, I'm going to keep my M18 in my truck for sure. The M12 one would be, so I could see myself, this would be my main one for sure still. Runtime is like crazy on it. I maybe charge this battery once a month at the most, and I use this almost every day, every job I go into. I stick this in cabinets, but most of my work, I can just set something somewhere and it's good. And, you know, this one just works out well. It's like a good center of balance. It doesn't tip over, doesn't do anything. And I've only ran it with a 5.0. That's all I put in it. And it's smaller you know, than this light right here. But if I go in like for an electric job and I know I'm going to be working in a panel or something like that, I might would take this one in instead, just because of the magnet, and I could stick it on a door. But I would like this one, I would definitely buy all day long. Now that I've used it, I really like that one. This one might end up staying in here, or, you know, as a quick grab light, so I don't have to keep getting in my truck. And like I said, I actually thought about, although I don't really need it, because these lights up here, I mean, they're crazy bright. Like, I can see plain as day. If I'm working on something, trying to fix something here, those are plenty bright. Because what you could do with this, like I said, if you didn't have this kind of lighting, you want a little more light on your workbench, if you mounted this little thing here on the wall, you know, you could use this anywhere you wanted to around your house. But then when you're not using it, lock it in there, and then use this, you know, as a light, you know, over your workbench or whatever it is. I don't know what setting that one is. Yeah, this one goes from high to low on that setting too. I don't know if I said that during the video or not. I think I did whenever it was in the dark. Unless you turn it off. I did notice this. I don't think I mentioned it in the video because I noticed it later. So like if I go to low here, turn it off, and turn it back on, it comes back on low, so it remembers its setting. But then it goes to high next, which it would if you were on low. So let's say I go to medium, turn it off, turn it back on, it's on medium, but I think the next one might be high. No, it's going to low. Sometimes for some reason, it seems like it goes from medium to high every now and then, but 9 times out of 10, it goes, I could just be wrong. So, like I said, there's not a huge difference between, in my opinion, low, medium, and high. So sometimes it's even hard to tell which one you've got it on. Even though it is a drastic difference in lumens, supposedly it's 3, 6, and 1,000 or whatever it is, or 3, 5, and 1,000, or 3, 6, and 1,200. I mean, that's a big difference, but I can tell the difference, but it's not like it's like, whoa, that lights up so much more now, you know, type of thing. How big with the CP3? CP3. So with a big one, 8 1/4 is what I'd call that. CP3. Sticking on the magnet. 7 1/4. So you just lose an inch. Basically, it's the difference of whatever I guess this must be about an inch. Little, barely over an inch right there. So that's what you're losing. I said the benefit of this battery being in there is that one particular, this case scenario right here. Like for some reason, let's say you want your magnet on something, like say I'm working on something here where you guys are, but my metal is over here between me and you guys. I could stick that on the metal and then get this light. Now, I wouldn't be having a lot of it being blocked, versus with that bigger battery, you know, you can still get it turned that way, but you're not going to have all of it. But again, it's probably still going to be enough light for you to be able to see whatever it is. The M18, okay. Do I have a 3? Let's see. 2. I don't know if I got a CP2. I think only 3s I've got are the high outputs. I don't think I've got like a CP3. But yeah, so This ends up being 3 inches tall with the light all the way up, 6 inches tall, compared to a 5, which is probably going to be like 4 and 7 or something like that. 4, 7. Yeah, and I guarantee you that it would still last a super long time, because again, especially if you use it on low. I think the low is like 105 hours of run time on a 5 on low. And then low is right there. Probably not dark enough yet for me to turn off the lights and show you, but I mean, it's under a cabinet or whatever. That's plenty. Like you'll be able to see everything. You still got any of that wriggling Neighborg? I don't know if that was for me or not some way, but if I didn't say that, you'd think I wasn't paying attention to you. Matt S., I'm pretty interested in that new M12 Rover. Light options are always great. I also still need to replace my 3-panel that apprentice left in a crawl space. Yeah, I have these 2 bigger lights that I take in places. Like, I bought these just because these lights are always good to have, in my opinion. I bought this one first. I really like this one. This one puts out good light. Like if you're in an attic and you want to put this up in you can hang this from like a rafter or something or other. And the fact that it kind of lights up like a 360 degrees, it works out pretty well. But the nice thing about these, in my opinion, is that you can plug them up. Like I use these all the time as plug-in lights, more so than battery lights. But I've got both of those for like bigger lights if I'm doing actual like working in some place for a long extended period of time. Curious how easy that would be to carry in a crawl space. It would be too bad. Like, I mean, I would like, of course, if you were using it, you know, you could have it like this, but it's not crazy. Let me put a big battery in it again. Let's say you're using a big battery. You know, it's not horribly. It's mostly just, it's essentially feel wise, it's just got that battery on it different than this one. Like, because that's about the difference, is the battery extra. This side, this one's a lot bigger this way, but it doesn't feel like crazy. Oh man, that's way bigger in my hand than this one type thing. It is bigger, but it's mostly that extra length right here. And it's basically essentially adding an extra battery, you know, kind of onto it. But I could crawl with this in my hand if I had to. But the hook, to me, like if you're somebody who's going to go camping, like if you're somebody who goes camping and stuff like that, and you buy your lights for work, but you also use it, you know, whenever you do your normal stuff too. I mean, you could hang this up in a tent, you know, and use it as a light, hang it on outside, use it as a light, you know, just all those little features add up to making it more useful, even though it's bigger. I forgot the football starts tonight, I think, doesn't it? Like real football. The only light in our lives is our shining personality. Their spouses love us. It would be beneficial for me to look at the chat while explaining. Two to 4 amp. I don't think I've got any 4 amp hours. Or are you saying the 2 to 4 amp hours are about the same size type thing? I never did even get, I've never had any of the Milwaukee, like the 3 amp hours. They used to have some 3 amp ones that looked like either they look like the 2s or the 4s that look like the 5s or something. I don't remember. They had some that was kind of the same size as the 5 too. Like I've seen some 3s maybe that were the same size as the 5s. But I've only had pretty much whenever I started buying M18 tools, they were always giving away the 2-pack of 5 amp hour batteries. And then the last few M18 tools I bought, they started giving away like the 6 amp hour batteries. And then something I bought came with 8s. I think it was my miter saw. I bought my miter saw, got 2 8 amp hours with that. So that's mostly what I've got. I've got a couple of the high output 3.0s. I've got 4 or 5 of the 6.0 high outputs. I've got a couple 8s, and then I got several 5s. I actually like running the 5s in most of my stuff. Amanda said, no, Miss Maintenance said next Thursday. Okay, good. I was thinking it might be that today, but I was. Plumbing said, I've got the 03. It's the same as the 5. She's checking to see how buried I am. I'm caught up. I just saw your message, so I'm not buried at all. It is starting to get dark, though, so I'll take you on the concrete look, and then we'll see if I die out. If I die out, I die out, but we'll see how it goes, because if I wait around till final time, it might be way too dark. So let me I need to open my garage door a little more, though, or I'm bump my head getting out of here. He's had selective skimming. Yeah, I started doing that. No birds tonight. Yeah, hopefully they're already. I might get a bat right now, I guess, if it's getting dark enough. Let's see. Woo! So this side of my garage, I've got, shelves on this side. What I'm going to end up doing is this set of shelves I'm going to be taking out and putting a doorway in right here. And all this is kind of on the fly. I'm kind of designing this as I go type thing. I've got an idea in my head, but it's kind of just built as I go. So I'm extending this. That doorway will be coming out right here. Basically, I've got 2 poles on this carport between these 2 screws right here, that one and this one. So that doorway is going to go right here. This window will be going away. And this will basically be I'll be able to build some 12-inch shelves in this area. I can walk in, store smaller stuff, and then on the 2 ends, I'll build deeper shelves. So this is just going to be extra storage to get stuff out of my main area. I'll go ahead and go to the other side, down to the main thing. So then this side, I'm going to access, I cut out my block. So this will be basically a same exact type of storage area, but it's not going to be accessed from this building where I'm normally at. I've got access into my newer area, which will have a garage door here with a 10-foot garage door, 12-foot ceilings in here. So I'm basically going to build walls here, trusses, flat trusses here, scissor trusses over my existing building. So it will all look like, so these walls will come over this wall, outside wall. It will just look like one building with this area off of this thing and my other area off the other. Has it been getting glitchy, or is it doing a little bit better? Because I moved my router more towards this end down here. I didn't know if that might help. So this will be trailer parking, and then extra my truck. I'll put my truck stuff, and I'll be able to keep all that stuff out of my existing building too. But finally at the wall stage, which is what I've been waiting for. So not too bad, but as you say that, so it started getting a little glitchy. But like I said, once I actually am done over there, I'm going to add another mesh in that new section as well. Hopefully whenever I walk around, or if I go from one to the other, it'll be a little bit better. Room for more tools, Woodchuck said. Mike Murphy said, as a DIYer starting in Milwaukee system, what would be some necessary M12 or M18 tools other than drill or impact? DIY wise, if I was going to buy a circular saw, like the M12 one works great for me. But if I was only going to buy one saw, like I have also an M18 saw. So that's why I like the M12 saw, because it works for 80% of the things, you know, that I do. But I also lost the mic. Okay, I'll fix that. It's gotten real touchy. If I barely touch it wrong and don't hold my mouth right, it does. It pulls out of my little port. All right, should be. So I said, let's see where it was. Mac Murphy, as a DIYer, what tools, M12 or M18, should he buy other than drill or impact? Depends on what kind of projects you want to take on, but I would definitely say a circular saw. Now, if you're in M12 and in M18 and you only want to buy one, I would buy an M18 saw. But I love my M12 saw. Like, definitely would buy it. It's right here, actually. I just got done using it. So I would buy this in a heartbeat. But I also still own an M18 saw. So I know that if I have a job come up where I don't feel like this is going to do it, I still have that. But so if I only had to buy one saw, I'd buy an M18 saw. But this is great for 2x4s, 2x6s, primarily cross cuts. Not a lot of ripping of things, but unless it's like one sheet of plywood or something like that, it's fine. But nothing like crazy. But if you're 2x4s all day long, so I would for sure circular saw. Sawzall's kind of, in my opinion, the same way with the M12 one. I like it, but it's not going to do everything for you. As a homeowner, it's probably going to do enough. If you want the smaller compactness of it, I still use mine, but I also have an M18 one. There's a lot of my tools where I really like the M12 one, but if you was to say, hey, you can only have an M12 or an M18 and that's it, there's sometimes where the M12 one's not going to do certain things for me. Like, you're not going to go in and cut a 4-inch cast iron pipe in half with the M12 one without going through like 3 batteries or something like that and having the right blade in it and all that kind of stuff like that. But you could do it with M18, no problem. I hear crickets, but not Joey. So y'all should be able to hear me now. I'm guessing you can hear me now. I've got my green light on my microphone anyways. Y'all let me know if y'all can hear me now. Unless something's not right up there. Hopefully you can, or I just said all that for nothing. Okay. So I would think a homeowner would want a skill saw or circular saw. I call them all skill saws. Probably a sawzall, or I would actually, I take that back. Instead of a sawzall, I'd probably buy an oscillating tool, because you can kind of use that for a lot of the situations that a homeowner might would use a sawzall for. I would think an oscillating tool would be a good tool. Corey Massey said, I've got bigger ideals that I will let you know about when I'm finished with the building. Corey Massey's going to be the one helping me with my building. Corey Massey's trying to make me do bigger and badder things than I'm even intending to do. He's trying to get me to tear down this whole thing and make everything, all sorts of things. I'm going to have a helipad for the Morgan's maintenance chopper. I will fill the space I have regardless of size. The main thing I'm wanting to do is just open. This gets too jumbled up because I've got so much, which it's been real bad here lately because I'm doing all, like I've had concrete tools in here, and then I've had, different stuff at different stages. So then I'm trying to come in here and get the stuff for work to put in my truck, but I'm having to walk around everything. So the biggest thing to me is just to get it to where primarily this is, where my workbench is. This is where I'll film YouTube videos. And then this is where my staging for my job is. And then any of my like home stuff, like I've got my weed eater, my chainsaw, I've got a table saw that I really only get out very few and far between because I've got my job site saw now. So I'm going to be able to move that out of my floor space in here. I've got jaw horse that I don't use that often. So tools that I don't use very often, I'll either be able to move them out of here into like that closet area or move them into the newer area. I've got scaffolding. I've got ladders galore, all that kind of stuff. So it should make it to where I free up this space in here a little bit better so that I can go buy more tools and fill it up with more stuff to where eventually it's all full. But Corey may or may not exist. Yeah, I've taught Corey Massey everything he knows about construction. Back when I first met him, he knew very little. Now he knows a little bit. He's probably laughing right now. I have that issue with the 20 by 10 shed for big, not used everyday stuff. Yeah, I've got so much stuff in here that's home stuff and not work stuff. Or like, even like I said, like if I'll be able to pull my truck down there or a car or whatever else to work on it, especially if it's going to take more than one day, or my lawnmower or whatever else. So everything I've got in here, like that I would use for a car or lawnmower or whatever, that can go down there, so it's just going to make it a lot better in here. Has to make it a full shop and expand the channel. Corey said he was laughing. And another thing is, like I said, I've got the conduit out here now going to the house where I'll be able to get more power out here because I've only had one circuit out here. That's what was here whenever I got here. I think I could very easily make it 2 circuits because I've actually got a 3-wire in my little sub panel out here. But under my house, I found that wire going in, and they've got it tied into a 2-wire at that junction. So I could technically get in my panel and run a 3-wire from there to that, because that's just an underground wire. But I could add on to that and put another in my box. My sub panel box out here has a spot for an extra slot too. So I could put another one in that same one that I've got. So I could even do that in the future too, but I'm running a whole new sub panel out here into that newer section. But I mean, I'll still be able to, if I want to, bring stuff into here out of that, but primarily for a mini split. But then I'll have a little bit of extra power for other stuff too, if I need to. Cause I don't typically do a lot of work out of here. Like every now and then I'll make something with my saws, like somebody will want a specific type of cabinet or something like that, or a drawer needs to be fixed. I have to replace a drawer in somebody's cabinet, but it's very few and far between. And even if that's the case, I'm only using one tool at a time, so I can even get by. I've been getting by with one circuit out here for however many years we've lived here now, with no problem. Some ways back is killing him. Good night. We'll see you, buddy. Doesn't need to be 100 out there. It's really it's the humidity when it's super hot out here at certain times of year is what's bad. It's the sweating part. It's not so much the heat. It's just you just get soaked with sweat. But finding out that I could use the noise canceling with that, which I don't have it on tonight because I don't need it, but and having that fan blowing this way, that's been pretty nice. That's made a big difference. But that's like even in here right now, I've got two exhaust fans that I got on clearance at Home Depot that were like a price I couldn't pass up because eventually there'll be some customer that needs a new exhaust fan, and then I'll be able to make money off of that. But I don't need them in here because I don't need to look at that exhaust fan every single day. That can go in that little closet area over there and just again free up more space in here. All kinds of stuff all over here that I don't need in this particular room right here. $18 years we've lived here. Yeah. So I've got by for 18 years with one circuit out here. And I'm always running usually a fan, a dehumidifier, and then if I need to use tools, it's been, and all these lights and stuff. But then if I need to use tools, most of the time I'll wheel my table saw outside. I'll set up which my miter saws are all now battery powered, but I used to have a corded miter saw. I'd take it outside. But so if I was outside using those, I wouldn't be running the fan in here. All of it's been fine with one circuit, but it's just being able to have the flexibility to know that if I do want more power, I'm going to have it. And again, now I feel like I can put in a mini split and it's not going to be, I don't have to worry, hey, I can't run my table saw while I'm running my mini split. I got to make sure I turn that off, all that kind of stuff. I don't want to get into that. And I've wanted to redo the building for about 17 years. You need a distribution warehouse for Morgan's maintenance. Yeah, I just watched the R&R buildings. He just had he just got done with his shop. And then now he's got a warehouse that he's keeping all his work stuff in. So that's kind of the idea except I don't have quite the funds as R&R buildings has, and I don't have quite the space, but I'm basically wanting two spots, one for more of my just stuff I grab out for work and stuff, and one for my personal stuff, so that it's two different areas and they're not just stacked together. What's up, Ott? Ott's Plumbing and Drain Cleaning. We used to use a storage unit that got expensive. See, I had thought about that a long time ago. It just depended on how my business went, and I don't feel like I have a need for it because again, I normally don't run surprise service calls very often, like, where somebody calls you and you just got to go that day. 9 times out of 10, like all my stuff is scheduled service work because it's not emergency stuff. So I have time to, like, it's not like I'm in town and then, oh, I really need my table saw for this surprise job that came up, but now I got to go all the way home and get my table saw. It's always, I know I'm going to do that job. I throw my table saw in my truck, or I know I'm going to do that job. I throw my drain auger in my truck. I don't have to have it in my truck all the time, but because I had thought about, if my business kind of goes that route where I find that happening quite a bit, I thought about maybe I would buy a storage unit in the town I work in and keep the tools, because it's like I don't mind buying materials at a store that I might already have one at my house because the customer is going to pay for that material anyways. So I just still have one at my house. But I definitely don't want to be like, man, I don't want to drive all the way home to go get, my drain auger because it's, an hour getting there and back type thing and all that kind of stuff. But I definitely don't want to go to the store and buy one, type thing because I've already got one, all that kind of stuff. But I haven't felt the need to, like, again, all my stuff is typically scheduled work, not so much emergency work. So I've never ran into that much. I changed my name. You know me from SOALs and Tactics Live and channel Stephen Ott. Yeah. So good to know you changed your name. I was sitting there thinking, I knew the OT was ringing a bell to me, but I was thinking I hadn't seen the OT's plumbing and drain cleaning. Silly stuff like ladders and scaffolding and big stuff that didn't used often. Yeah, see, whenever we first moved here, this was just a carport with just the roof and that's it type thing. I think they might have had the sides added on. So I've got a barn. That's the barn that I cleaned out for my skid steer to go into. So that's one section of that barn on my property. There's another section of that off to the side. So it's kind of like it was originally a barn with two like lean-tos that were closed in. Well, the middle section when we first moved here was the space where I went in and cleaned it out, insulated it, hung drywall, finished it all out and stuff. And that's where originally I was keeping like my tools and stuff because I couldn't keep it in here because it wasn't a closed in space, wasn't lockable, none of that kind of stuff. But now since I moved out here and I finished this out and put the garage door on it and doors and all that and closed it in, that's kind of been our Christmas tree, Christmas decorations, all that kind of stuff storage area. Well, it's also got all my ladders, my scaffolding, stuff that I've saved from jobs like vinyl base where I've got like partial boxes of that. I got some flooring out there that was left over from some jobs. I've got a sliding like secretary window. Like I took it out someplace and I'm like, I'm going to have a job where somebody's going to want to, hey, can you put us in a window for, the secretary to be able to talk to the people in the lobby? And I'll be like, I've got one that I'll sell you for X amount of dollars type thing. All that stuff's out there in Miss Maintenance's way. So she'll be glad to get all that stuff out. And, we've also got like some yard tools that she uses in there that can also now go in here with my M18 ones and stuff. So it's not only going to free up space here, it's going to help out with that stuff too. So. Yeah, see, Miss Maintenance is saying his ladders and scaffolding are in my building. That barn is good for that stuff. It doesn't leak right. Yeah, the middle section doesn't. Like the section that my skid steer's in, the roof doesn't leak either. It's got a pretty good new roof on it. I put a metal roof on it not too long ago, but now that skid steer section gets stuff coming in the soffit area because it's just open. So like wasp and stuff like that can come in through there. But the middle section's completely closed off that she puts all that stuff in. Miss Maintenance said I'm a pack rat. But how many things have I done around the house over the course of however many years, that we've lived here? You said 18 years, because I didn't really do any of this stuff before that. But how many things have I been able to do where I'm like, you want something done, like building a thing for the litter box for the cat, or hey, I'd like for this bookshelf to be this much taller or whatever. And I just go out to the barn and I make whatever with some wood that I've left over from some other job, or all the stuff that I built for my truck, I built from leftover stuff from another job. How much stuff have I done like that for free that didn't cost you nothing except for my time? Mm-mm-mm. Ladders don't care about wasp or scaffolding. Man, the wasp lit me up the other day, which I killed a ton of them, which I need to get me some more wasp spray. I used every bit of it. I walked in there to get in the skid steer the other day to, I don't know, whatever. I was moving gravel. Yeah, I guess I was moving gravel, but I've been parking it in there. But I went out there the other day. I think it was whenever I was going to put it up. And I walked in there and man, they lit me up because they were right there by the door. And I found like 6 or 7 nests with probably like 40 on each one. But luckily they were all like there and gathered together. So I kind of killed them all at one time. I've only seen like 2 little flybys in the last, couple days that I've been going out there. Usually I wait for them to get built up like that and then you kill them all at once. Mm-mm. Down to 79. I was actually just sitting here thinking it feels like it's gotten hotter in here. I am going to lower my garage door a little bit. Matter of fact, I'm just going to close it. I know I'm not, because I'm going to have to go out there. Yeah, I'm going to go out there, and I still got to seal that concrete. Hopefully it's dry enough. I'll have to get my M12 light and set it up out there and seal my concrete. They're going to come in the morning and do the saw cutting. The guy's got to walk behind saw. He's going to come saw cut it. I saw cut the two sides. Me and Corey Massey formed up the two sides that I showed you and poured those because we were just finishing those by hand. But my buddy who has a concrete business, like that's all he does. He's who we hire whenever we do jobs and it's got concrete. Me and Corey Massey got this one ready, all the gravel in, got it all leveled, tamped, and all that, plastic down, all that stuff. And then he came today. Him and his guy came and helped pour the bigger section, and then he kind of pretty much mostly finished it all because he's got the machines and all that kind of stuff. I didn't really care if it was like perfect, like all that, but I just wanted it to be smooth so that I can go in there with a blower and blow it out. Like that's what I like for my concrete to be smooth where I do work, because it's just way easier to clean. Like I don't want no broom finish or anything like that. But he did a pretty good job on it out there. I'm just super excited that the next thing is going to be wood, because then you're getting into the stuff I like to do. That's like the concrete. I don't mind doing it, helping doing it, but I was telling the guy today, I was like, I wouldn't do this for customers for anything, just because of if it goes wrong, it's a lot of work to fix it. Like if you like say this concrete, we poured it in between all these block walls, and something happened where the finish didn't quite go like the customer wanted it to be, and they didn't like it, and you had to get it out and redo it or do something else to it. It's like there's like the liability. That's why concrete ends up costing so much. It's actually like the material and stuff is expensive, but it's not near as expensive as what it costs to have somebody like put it in and all that kind of stuff. That's why it's always that way. Miss Maintenance said the two sides look good. They did a good job. Corey Massey did one side and I did the other. Mine looks better than his. That's a little inside joke between us two. $3 yards delivered here with dog hair is $800. I don't know how. I haven't figured out how much. I've been having my concrete guy order it for me, because here in my area, like if you're a homeowner and you want concrete, you might not get it for like a week and a half after you order it. So you can't really, like, I don't know what the weather is going to be doing in a week and a half on the day where you say I can get it type thing. But like they always give, like that's all he does is concrete. So he calls them up. He says, I want it. They bring it to him because he uses them all the time, almost every day type thing. So I've been getting it through him. He's been ordering it for me, even whenever me and the other guy were the only ones here pouring. I still called him. He ordered it, and it got here the next day, that next morning. Corey Massey said I'm a liar. Well, the only reason why your side looks better is because you got out here the next morning with a rub rock on your side and did the whole entire thing out there. That's the only reason why yours looks better. I didn't have to use a rub rock on any of my stuff. Well, it's 7:50. Normally I get off here at 8, but I am going to get off here a little bit earlier because I'm going to go out there and check this out and see if I can get some sealer on this thing. It won't take me very long. but just got to get it out and get it rolled on there. That way I can get in and get in the bed and then get up tomorrow and probably dig a ditch for my pipe. That's probably what I'm going to do tomorrow, is finish getting my drain pipe in the ground, or at least that's my idea anyways, and then maybe start spreading some more dirt, trying to get my piles down some more. That's my goal, and then that way maybe by next Tuesday when the wood's delivered, I'll be ready to roll. But I'm gonna see, you can be a ditch digger. Have a great weekend, a vacation next week, Woodchuck said. See you, everyone. But guess the trades. Yeah, this week is Rake Batten, and he's got a toolbox. He's got Milwaukee Pack Out and a Vito Pro Pack SPMC and an SC45. So quite a few pictures on his. Pretty good loadout. I think it's going to be kind of obvious once you get into it what he does as well, I think. But I'm going to get out here and see what I can get done, and we'll see y'all Saturday. Walk of shame.